So, we have got a problem. These HomePods allow me to see the temperature and humidity in every single room that they sit in, which is super helpful. It allows me to do silly things like, hey Siri, what's the temperature in this room?
It's 20 degrees Celsius.
Which is fun for strange people like me who need to know these things. However, what is not quite so fun is these HomePod minis, even the mini, is currently going for £99 here in the UK. So if I have 7 rooms, that is going to add up to around £700 total, which is a lot of money just so that I can know the temperature inside each of my rooms and what the temperature in my house is. So the challenge becomes, me as a complete amateur, not some computer graduate, can we do better for less than £700? Okay, we've got a box and we've got a plan. After a conversation with ChatGPT, watching many videos, diving into some spec sheets, which I understood very little of, the 2 main parts of this project are Home Assistant and building the actual sensor that's going to get these readings, right? So, Home Assistant will live on a little Raspberry Pi that we need to build, so there'll be that little adventure. Then Home Assistant is going to be the operating system on that Raspberry Pi. Home Assistant is effectively an open source smart home platform, which we will be able to connect our sensor into, and then we can pass that information through Home Assistant into Apple Home app eventually. So Home Assistant's the sort of connector between everything. Speaking of that sensor that we're going to put in there, that's the other side of this. So how that's going to be built is through an ESP32 dev board, which apparently has Wi-Fi and stuff, which will make that a bit easier, which is basically like a really small microcontroller. It's like a tiny, tiny computer, as well as the sensor, which is going to be an SHT40 temperature and humidity sensor, which is potentially massive accuracy overkill. But hey, over-engineer and hopefully it'll work. So I got worried about this for a bit. How do you connect those 2 things up? I don't know how to solder. I don't really want to do that. So for now, we're going to take the easy option and we're just going to do a stemmer connector. I think that's how you say it. So hopefully that'll make it easy. Then we just need a little case for that, a lot of measuring, a bit of modeling, 3D printer, save for the day. So that'll be that. First job is to go build that Raspberry Pi and get Home Assistant on it. We have our Raspberry Pi 5 here, which, to make sure it stays cool, we added on the official active cooler as well. I heard the Raspberry Pi 5 can get hot, so I thought why not? I chose to add an SSD, which, if I'm honest, I thought I could have put the OS onto, but alas, it seems to have stayed on the micro SD and I'm not sure how to change that. Because I decided to add the SSD, we had to get a separate hat for the Pi to allow us to install that, which, as it doesn't have the OS on it, not actually really sure what that SSD is doing for now, but hey, maybe it's future-proofing. And the hat that we got on this only works with the official active cooler, just as an FYI. The case I printed from the Bamboo handy store, open source, so super easy to get. I'll put all the links down in the description as well so you can find them. They're not like affiliate links or anything like that, just make your life a bit easier. Getting the Home Assistant operating system into the Pi turned out to be pretty easy, to be honest. You need to go onto your laptop and download the Raspberry Pi Imager, which is a tool on your laptop that allows you to install different Pi operating systems onto the micro SD card. After you've installed that, open it up, and while it's installing, make sure that your micro SD is in your PC and showing up, like when you used to plug in a USB. Then simply open the app, and you should see this. First on the left, select your device, which for us is going to be a Raspberry Pi 5. Then select your OS in the middle. For this, you're going to have to scroll down and find Other Specific Purpose OS. Again, scroll down to the bottom and Home Assistant and Home Automation. And finally, you should see that sweet blue logo. Last one now, on the right, is selecting your storage device, which you should click and see your micro SD. Make sure it is your microSD, as everything on your storage device is going to get wiped. So it's worth a quick little double check. But most likely it's going to be the small storage device that's plugged in. After you've done that, sit back and wait for it to install onto the microSD card, which is a perfect time to subscribe and like this video, as you've got a few minutes to spare. When the installation is done, it should auto-eject and you can take the microSD card out of your PC and put it into your Raspberry Pi on the bottom. It's quite easy to see. Right, now we just need to plug in Ethernet to give it internet, and we need a little bit of power. Okay, so we've got a little light. Okay, now that your Pi is connected to power and internet, give it a few minutes and then open up a browser window. In the search bar, enter this address, right? It should work for you. If not, do some Google, a bit of troubleshooting, but I just had to give it a few minutes and then it worked. You should then be taken back to this screen and you can go through the setup process, which is pretty straightforward. I won't go through the whole thing right now with you, but it's kind of pretty normal. Only thing I would note is make sure you make a note of your username and password, as it's a local thing, right? So if you forget that or lose that, it's going to be hard. When you get to the end, it should detect any smart home devices on your network automatically. But if not, you can always add these in after. I just thought it was quite cool that it could kind of auto-detect these. So that is one half of the project now done. We've got the Raspberry Pi built, we've got Home Assistant set up. We now need to move on to the sensor that's going to take the temperature and humidity readings and send it over there. So let's start with the hardware. These are the three parts that we need for this sensor build. I'm not going to lie, it was shockingly simple when I saw it. So we just take this connector, plug it in. It's a little bit stiff. This is the humidity sensor. And then again, we just use our stemmer connector and plug it in. I'm potentially manhandling these a bit more than I should. And that's it. Shockingly simple. So, but now we need a case. For the case, we started with a little test print here to see how we were going to mount it. We then took it to the next stage, not even thinking about a case top yet, but how does it all sit together? And then finally, we got here, this little domed shape. I thought the dome made it a little bit more interesting. If I take the lid off, you'll see I've left lots of room in here, slightly just so that it's got a little bit of scale to it, but also hopefully that will help with the airflow. Now we just need to see if this will actually work and talk to everything else. And if I'm totally honest, this was the moment that I thought, this is easy. We're on the home straight. It's basically done. We get the little sensor, we give it a bit of power with a bit of USB-C. Go into Home Assistant, install the app, put the code on, upload, send, done. Project complete. However, setting up or getting this ESP controller to actually do the thing and just initialize was probably the most annoying part of this entire project. Okay, this part of the process really, I don't think should have been as hard as I found it. So don't be put off by this. I think it was probably me just messing things up. I don't know. I had to try different ports, different browsers. Eventually, I just spammed the boot button while I was trying to basically install the first kind of flash onto this microcontroller, and it worked. Potentially now watching videos, that's kind of what you're supposed to do in the first place. Maybe I wasn't pressing the boot button at the right time. Anyway, rather than showing you the rubbish version of me trying to do this or trying to figure out, a way to record it so it looks like I know what I'm doing, I'm just going to put a really helpful video by Learn Fast Make Things that I kind of followed afterwards, ironically. I'll have that linked in the description below, and let's just get on with the next step, should we? Okay, so we're now getting close. We've got our ESP32 inside Home Assistant, it's showing up. We plug back in the sensor and we are good. Because we've done that and it's connected to Wi-Fi and it's in our Home Assistant, we can now do over-the-air updates when we want to put our custom YAML code onto it. Within Home Assistant, you can see your new device that you've added. You're going to hit the edit button on here. Then we want to add in this code. You know, I'm not an expert, and effectively I told ChatGPT the exact board and sensor and how I was connecting it up, and then it gave me this code. I then put in the code and double checked it into Gemini AI as well as like a little double check against each other. So you literally are going to see all the old YAML in here. You're going to delete that, copy in the new YAML and hit install. I think I got one error, and that was about defining the board that wasn't working, which actually, to be fair, the AI did flag could be a problem. So I took a screenshot, put it back into ChatGPT, it gave me a new bit of code, tried that and it worked, right? So you don't need to be an engineer for this, it's pretty simple. And then you're going to wait a long time, it's going to install, you're going to get this kind of like Mr. Robot screen of code happening as it compiles, and it should say success at the end. I can share this code, but it's kind of pretty simple, so I think you can probably just let the AI overlords do their thing. But if people really want it, I guess we'll figure out a way to share that, maybe in the comments, something like that. Maybe we'll do like a shared Google Doc, maybe that's the easiest way to do it. But let's figure that out later. Now, what we need to do is get our Home Assistant to talk to HomeKit so it can show up on iPhones and your Mac, and you just go in the little Home app and it all works. Just like a HomePod would do, right? So I'm going to put in the description a link to a video that I followed from Future Smart Homes, which was super useful. So that's going to be in the description as well. But I will do a quick step-by-step effectively of what you do. So what you're going to have to do is go to Settings, then we're going to go to Devices and Services, add an integration and search for Apple, and HomeKit Bridge is the thing that you want. So when you click that, you're going to get this drop down, which is a little intimidating. It looks a bit confusing, but effectively this is you picking what you're going to bring over into HomeKit. The default should be kind of fine. I think I selected sensor because I didn't know if it was temperature sensor, but I think it's actually like a motion sensor. Anyway, so when you've done that kind of process, hit continue, all good. Then on your laptop, if you're using Home Assistant on your laptop, you're going to get a notification bottom left. Click this. This is going to be a QR code. This is a pairing code to link up your Home app, right? Your HomeKit app. That's the purpose of this. Now grab your phone, go into HomeKit, click on the plus button and go add accessory. Should be super simple. You should now just be able to scan that QR code with your phone and it should all work. It's going to pop up with this thing saying unverified or uncertified accessory. That's fine. We know what we're doing, sort of. So just hit continue. And then this is going to pull over all of those things that you selected from HomeKit to come over. So if you've got loads of light bulbs and things, this is going to take a while, but you can exit out of it and you can do it later if you want to. The key thing is that our ESP sensors, right, that we've got should now be coming through with humidity and temperature. Now, with any luck, go into your Home app on your phone, and we can now see the temperature and humidity of the room from this little plastic bit of wires that we have created, which is a little bit gas. Ooh. All right, so that is the project done. Look, so we have on the left here, we've got Home, Apple Home, and we've got temperature and humidity at the top. On the right hand side as well, in Home Assistant, you get these really nice graphs. So you kind of keep track of everything and you can see how cold your little flat gets at night when it gets cold in England. So the big question is, of course, did we manage to beat Apple? So I've made this little quick dashboard here, which we'll do a screen share. As we can see here on this quick little dashboard, as we said at the start, to do this project with HomePods for the temperature and humidity, that's the main thing we cared about, was going to be £693 precisely for the 7 of them. And then on the right-hand side, obviously our biggest one-off cost was setting up that Raspberry Pi. So that's £125, but then per sensor, we're looking at £18.70p. So for 6 sensors, let's bump it to 7, that is still a total saving of £436. So we managed it. So it was kind of fun. Now, let's go figure out what we're going to do next. But keep trying stuff until you find something cool. Bye.